February 1889, Montana Territory. Cold so fierce it could crack railroad iron like kindling. I found her half froze by my trapline that morning, barefoot and snow-stained red from the blood seeping between her ribs. Thought she was a deer at first. Turned out I was half right. She was prey. My ribs are already broken, she whispered when I tried to lift her. Said it matter-of-fact like she was reporting the weather. Her feet were black with frostbite. Her nightdress torn, bruises layered over bruises, old yellow under fresh purple, like someone had been using her for target practice with their fists. I'm too old now to remember every winter of my life, but that one I'll carry to my grave. Because by spring thaw, we'd either walk out of those mountains free, or we'd be buried 6 feet under it. And the man who put those bruises on her, her own blood brother, the law called him her guardian, I called him something else. This is how it happened. 3 years I'd been running those trap lines alone, liked it that way, dead wife don't argue, dead daughter don't need feeding. Winter keeps a man honest. Can't hide from what you are when it's just you and the cold. That morning started like any other. Stoked the wood stove, breath clouding thick in the cabin air. Checked my map, routine patrol, northwest line toward Widow's Creek. Poured coffee in my tin cup, the one with the dent where Abigail dropped it our first winter together. Should have replaced it. Never did. The wolves found her before I did. I heard them first, that yipping, circling sound they make when something's down but not dead yet. Grabbed my rifle, moved careful through the snow, tracks everywhere. Wolf prints big as my palm, circling something small and still. Then I saw the blood, not deer blood, human blood. Dark red against white snow, a trail of it leading back east toward the settlements. And at the end of that trail, curled against a boulder like she was trying to become part of the stone, a girl. Woman, really, but looked small as a child the way she was folded up. Barefoot, in February, 3 miles from anywhere. The wolves scattered when I got close, but they didn't go far. They knew what I knew. She wasn't long for this world. Don't, she whispered when I knelt down, voice like wind through dead grass. Don't take me back. Back where, girl? Her eyes opened, brown, clear, already saying goodbye to everything. My ribs are already broken. Please, just let me die out here where he can't reach me. I'd heard that tone before, 3 years back, from my Abigail. That flat, empty sound of someone who'd already decided. Last time I heard it, I was too stupid to understand. Came home to find her hanging from the barn beam. Note said the pain was too much. I never even knew she was hurting. Smart thing would have been to ride for town. Fetch Marshal Pike, let the law sort it out. But I'd seen what the law did to women with nowhere to go, and something in her voice, that emptiness, I couldn't walk away from it twice. Ain't leaving you to freeze, I said. You can trust me or not, but you're coming to my cabin. She tried to pull away, gasped like I'd stuck her with a knife. Ribs, had to be. I removed my coat slow, wrapped it around her careful as handling eggs. He'll come for me, she whispered as I lifted her onto my horse. Then he'll find me first. Her hand grabbed my shirt, fingers cold as creek stones. You don't understand. Jem doesn't stop. When he gets like this, when he drinks, he doesn't stop until blood's spilled. Blood's already spilled. Look at you. I got her to the cabin before noon, set her by the wood stove, piled every blanket I owned on top of her. She shook so hard I thought her bones might break from it. Brought warm water, not hot, shocked kill her, and left it beside the bed with a clean cloth. Didn't ask her name yet, didn't ask who did it, just added more wood to the fire and stepped outside to give her privacy. That's when I saw them. 8 miles east, smoke rising from a chimney I knew. The Hutchins place. Old homestead, been there since the 60s. Parents died 2 winters back, left it to the son. Jeremiah Hutchins, Jim, mean drunk, everyone knew it. But family business was family business and the law didn't cross that threshold without cause. I looked at the smoke, looked back at my cabin door. You just bought yourself a war, old man, I thought. But I'd already lost one woman to silence. Wasn't about to lose another. Didn't speak much that first night. Words felt like they'd break whatever thin thread was keeping her breathing. She watched me from the bed like I was a wolf that hadn't decided to bite yet, kept her arms wrapped tight around her ribs, wincing with every breath. I stayed across the room, whittling by lamplight. Figured if I kept my back to her, kept my hands busy, she'd see I wasn't the hurting kind. Every hour or so I'd add wood to the fire, set food within reach, cornbread, venison jerky, then retreat back to my chair. Name's Silas Garrett, I said around midnight, still not turning around. This is my trap line. You're safe here long as you need. Long silence, then soft as snow falling, Clara, that's a strong name. Don't feel strong. You walked 3 miles barefoot in a blizzard. That ain't weak. I heard her breath catch, maybe a sob she was swallowing. I kept whittling. Sometimes the best thing a man can do is just be still. Around 2 in the morning, I stood up. I'll sleep in the barn tonight. Give you the cabin. Door bars from inside if that makes you feel safer. It's freezing. You'll die out there. Done it before. Besides, you need to know you can trust being alone here. I'll check on you at first light. Her voice stopped me at the door. Why are you helping me? I turned then, looked at her straight. Lost someone once because I didn't see the hurt. Won't make that mistake twice. Left before she could ask more. The barn was cold as a tomb, but I'd slept in worse. Wrapped in horse blankets with my rifle across my knees, listening to wolves howl in the distance. They were closer than usual, smelled blood on the wind, probably, or maybe they just knew something was coming. Inside the cabin, I heard the bar slide across the door. Good. She was learning to protect herself. Morning came gray and bitter. I knocked soft before entering, gave her time to make herself decent. Found her sitting up by the fire, my wool blanket around her shoulders. She'd tried to stand, I could tell. There were scuff marks where she'd dragged herself a few feet before the pain dropped her. Ribs take 6 weeks to heal proper, I said, bringing her coffee. You got 3, maybe 4 broken. Felt 'em shift when I carried you. I know. She wrapped her hands around the tin cup like it was salvation. He kicked me. After I fell, said I wasn't getting up fast enough. First real detail she'd given me. I didn't push for more. We sat in quiet while she drank. Outside, snow started falling again. Big flakes that meant the temperature was rising. Good for her feet, bad for covering tracks. That afternoon I heard horses. Clara heard them too. The color drained from her face. She tried to stand, couldn't, just grabbed the edge of the table and pulled herself toward the corner like a wounded animal seeking a den. Clara, I said calm as I could. Get in the back room. Don't make a sound. She crawled there, every movement agony. I waited until she was hidden, then checked my rifle. 3 riders coming up the trail, moving slow, searching. They stopped at my fence line. Didn't dismount, just sat there looking at my cabin. I couldn't see faces through the snow, but I didn't need to. One of them pointed at my porch. At the blood drops I'd missed cleaning up. Then they turned and rode back the way they came. But they'd be back, and next time they wouldn't be alone. He knows, Clara whispered from the back room. Jem knows I'm here. I barred the door and checked the ammunition box. Then we best be ready. 3 days of quiet, then the storm broke. I'd ridden into Settlers Creek for supplies, flour, salt, laudanum for Clara's pain. Town wasn't much, just one main street with buildings that looked like they'd blow over in a strong wind. But it was all we had between us and lawless country. Elwood Chen's general store sat at the north end, windows fogged with cold. I tied my horse and went inside. Elwood looked up from his ledger, eyes narrowing when he saw me. Silas, need supplies. Flour, salt, bandages, and laudanum, if you got it. His hand paused over the flour sack. Laudanum? You hurt? Not me. We looked at each other across the counter. Elwood Chen was half Chinese, kept his head down, minded his business. Had to, in a town where folks already thought he didn't belong. But his eyes were sharp, and he saw everything that happened in his store. You taking care of someone? He asked quiet. That my business or yours? Depends on who you're hiding. My hand drifted toward my belt, not threatening, just ready. Elwood raised both hands, showing empty palms. 3 years I seen Clara Hutchins come in here with new bruises. Every month, new ones. I said nothing, did nothing, just watched. He opened a drawer, pulled out a leather-bound ledger, flipped through pages covered in his careful handwriting. Dates, descriptions, sketches of injuries. January 12th, 1887, black eye, split lip. February 3rd, arm in sling, claimed she fell. March 19th, rope burns on wrist, said she'd been tying fence. April. He closed the book. I got 3 years of this. If she's with you, if she's safe, you tell her Elwood Chen is sorry he was a coward, and tell her when the time comes, I'll speak what I seen. I took the supplies, left money on the counter. I'll tell her. The door slammed open before I could leave. Jeremiah Hutchins stood there, drunk and mean. I'd seen him around town before, raw-boned, bloodshot eyes, hands that stayed clenched even when they were empty. Behind him, 3 more men, hired hands from the look of them, the kind who'd do anything for whiskey money. Where is she, Chinaman? Elwood's face went carefully blank. Who? My sister, Clara. She ran off 3 days ago. You seen her? No. Jim spotted me, took a step closer. Whiskey smell rolled off him like fog. You seen a girl? Brown hair, skinny, probably half froze by now? Nope. She's mine. My responsibility. Pa made me swear before he died I'd look after her. His voice cracked, almost pleading. Almost. I fed her, kept a roof over her head. This is how she repays me, running off like some ungrateful. Maybe she had reason, I said. The store went silent. You could hear snow hitting the windows. You calling me a liar? Jim's hand went to his belt where a knife handle showed. I'm saying a woman don't run barefoot into a blizzard unless what's behind her is worse than freezing to death. Who the hell are you? Nobody. But if I see a woman needing help, I help her. That's what men do. One of his hired hands laughed. Nervous, ugly sound. Jim's face went red, then white. Marshal, he shouted toward the door. Marshal Pike, get in here. Marshal Pike pushed through the door, badge catching lamplight. 50 years old with a belly that said he spent more time at the bar than on patrol. He looked at Jim, then at me, and sighed like we were both disappointing him. What's this about, Jeremiah? This man's interfering in family business. I got witness says he threatened me. That true, Garrett. I said, if a woman needs help, I help her. That threatening. Pike's eyes were tired. Jeremiah here says his sister ran off. Says if anyone's harboring her, they're breaking territorial law. Woman belongs to her male kin until she's married or dead. That's a hell of a choice. Don't get smart with me, Todd. Pike stepped closer. You got her or not? I got a trap line. I got pelts. I got coffee getting cold back home. That's all I got. Pike studied me long enough that I thought he might actually do his job. Then he shook his head. Keep it that way. Family business is family business. Jim moved in close, breath hot on my face. If I find out you're lying, if I find her at your place, I'll burn it to the ground and you in it. I didn't step back, didn't blink. You know where I live? I'll find out. They left in a pack, boots loud on the wooden planks. Through the window, I watched them mount up, Jem pointing east toward my cabin, giving orders. Elwood came around the counter. You need to move her, tonight. Where? Church. Father McCready will give sanctuary. It's not ironclad, but Pike's superstitious. Won't break church law without serious cause. How do I get her there? She can barely walk. Back trail through the woods, 6 miles. I'll draw you a map. He was already sketching on brown paper. And Silas, he'll come for you now. Jem don't forgive. He don't forget. You just made yourself his enemy. I loaded the supplies on my horse. Through the store window, I saw Jem across the street staring at me. He raised his hand, made a gun with his fingers, pointed it at my chest. Then he smiled. I rode out of town, with that smile burning in my memory. Had maybe 6 hours before dark, maybe 12 before Jem worked up enough whiskey courage to come calling. When I got back to the cabin, Clara was sitting by the window, face pale. I saw riders earlier. They circled the property twice. I know. We're leaving tonight. Where? Church. It's 6 miles through rough country, and you can barely stand. She looked at her blackened toes, at her hands that shook when she tried to grip anything. Then she looked at me. I can make it. I have to. Clara, he'll kill you if we stay. You know that, right? He won't just burn the cabin. He'll wait till you're inside. She was right. I'd seen it in Jem's eyes. This wasn't about Clara anymore. This was about a man who'd lost control, and men like that don't stop till they get it back or die trying. We leave at dark, I said. Can you ride? If you can get me on the horse, I'll stay on. That night, I saddled my horse in the barn, packed what little we'd need. Through the cabin window, I saw lamplight. Clara getting herself ready, moving slow but determined. Then I heard them. Horses. Multiple horses, coming fast from the east. Clara heard them too. She appeared in the doorway, eyes wide. It's him. I counted silhouettes against the snow. 6 riders, more than I'd expected. Jem wasn't taking chances. Get in the root cellar, I said. Don't come out no matter what you hear. Silas, go, now. She disappeared into the cabin. I heard the cellar door open, close. Then I stood on my porch with my rifle and waited. They stopped at my fence line. Torches lit, flames reflecting off snow and ice. Jem sat his horse in front, swaying drunk but still upright. Garrett, Silas Garrett, I know she's in there. I didn't answer. Marshall says this is legal. I got rights to my sister. You send her out, no one gets hurt. Behind him, Marshall Pike sat his horse, looking uncomfortable but not stopping anything. No one here but me, I shouted back. You're a liar and a kidnapper. We're coming in. This is my property. You cross that fence without a warrant and I'll defend it. Pike shifted in his saddle. Garrett, this ain't worth dying over. Just open the door, let us search. If she ain't here, we'll leave peaceful. And if she is, you gonna let him drag her home? Let him finish what he started? That's family business. She ain't property. My voice carried across the snow, sharp as the cold. Not while I'm breathing. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Jem laughed. Ugly, broken sound. Garrett, I'm giving you till dawn. Come daylight, if she ain't out here, I'm deputizing this whole group and we're coming in. You'll hang for interfering with lawful custody. The law's wrong. The law's the law. Pike actually sounded sorry. Dawn, Garrett, make the right choice. They rode off, but one torch stayed behind. Jem planted it in the snow at my fence line. A marker, a warning, a promise. I stood on that porch long after they'd gone, watching that torch burn. Behind me, I heard the cellar door open. Clara climbed out, slow and painful. We can't run, she whispered. They'll just chase us. And you'll die trying to save someone who ain't worth saving. That's where you're wrong. She looked at me, tears frozen on her cheeks. We leave now, Mona said. While they think we're waiting till dawn, we go through the woods to the church. And Clara? Yes? You're worth it. Don't ever think different. We had maybe 4 hours till they came back. 4 hours to cover 6 miles through wolf country with a woman who could barely walk. I looked at that burning torch one more time. Then I helped Clara onto my horse, and we rode into the darkness. The woods swallowed us whole. No moon, just snow-heavy branches overhead and the creak of leather as Clara clung to my back. Every step the horse took, I felt her gasp against my shoulder. Broken ribs don't care how quiet you need to be. 3 miles to the creek crossing, I whispered. Then 3 more to the church. Can you hold on that long? Her arms tightened around my waist. That was answer enough. Behind us, my cabin sat dark and empty. I'd left the lamp burning in the window, blankets stuffed under the bed covers to look like bodies sleeping. Might buy us an hour, might buy us nothing, but it was all the deception I had. The temperature was dropping. I could feel it in the way the snow crunched different underfoot, in how my breath froze before it left my mouth. Clara's breathing came shallow and fast against my back. Pain breathing, the kind you do when every inhale costs you. Talk to me, I said. Keep yourself awake. What should I say? Anything. Tell me about before Jem. Long silence. Just the horse's steady walk, the whisper of wind through pine. Ma used to braid my hair every Sunday, Clara said finally, voice small. Took an hour. She'd sing hymns while she worked. Pa would sit by the fire, pretending to read his Bible, but really just watching us. Jem was different then. He'd bring me wildflowers, made me a doll out of corn husks one winter. What changed? Ma got sick, took 6 months to die. Pa lasted 2 years after, but he wasn't really there anymore. Just a shell walking around. Then he had the stroke, and it was just me and Jem in that cabin. And Jem had all this anger, like it had been building in him for years, and Ma's death just cracked the dam. First time he hit you? Her arms loosened slightly. I thought she might not answer. 3 weeks after Pa's funeral, I burned the cornbread. He backhanded me so hard I saw stars. Then he cried, said he was sorry, said it would never happen again. She laughed, bitter as winter wind. It happened again the next week, and the week after, and after a while, he stopped apologizing. Ahead, I heard water, the creek running fast under ice. Dangerous crossing even in daylight. Hold tight, I said. This part gets rough. The horse balked at the creek bank. I didn't blame him. Ice covered most of the surface, but underneath, current ran fast enough to sweep a horse off its feet. I dismounted, tested the ice with my boot, cracked but held. We walk it, I said, helping Clara down. She nearly collapsed when her feet hit ground. I caught her, felt her body trembling. Lean on me. We made it halfway across before we heard them. Dogs, barking, baying, the sound of a hunt in full fury. Back toward my cabin, maybe 2 miles off. Jem had brought tracking dogs. He wasn't supposed to come till dawn, Clara whispered, terror making her voice shake. Drunk men don't follow their own rules. Move, now. I half carried her the rest of the way across the ice. The horse followed, nervous, ears back. We'd just reached the far bank when I heard the ice crack behind us, loud as a gunshot. The creek groaned, shifted. Another minute, and it would have gone. "God's watching out for you," I said, "or the devil's toying with me." We pushed into the woods on the far side. The dogs sounded closer now, voices rising in pitch. They'd found our trail. Question was how long it would take them to reach the creek and whether they'd risk the crossing in the dark. Clara stumbled, went down hard. I heard her scream before she could stop herself, short, sharp, full of agony. "Ribs?" She couldn't speak, just nodded, face twisted in pain. Her hands clutched her side, and in the dim starlight I saw wetness seeping through her dress. Blood. Something had torn inside. "Clara, I need to check in." "No time." She grabbed my coat, pulled herself up using my body as a ladder. "Keep moving. If they catch us, it won't matter if I'm bleeding. You could be dying. Then I'll die free." I got her back on the horse, but the dogs were close enough now I could hear individual barks. 3, maybe 4 animals, and behind them, men shouting. Jem's voice rising above the rest. "Find her! Find her!" We moved faster, careless now. Branches whipped our faces, the horse stumbled on hidden roots but kept going. Claire's blood left a trail I couldn't hide. Dark drops on white snow, easy as breadcrumbs. Then through the trees ahead, light. Not torchlight, lamplight. Steady, warm coming from windows. The church. We'd made it. "Almost there," I gasped. My lungs burned. Clara's weight had shifted wrong, and I knew she was fading. "Stay with me. Just a little further." The church door opened before we reached it. Father McCready stood there, lamp in hand, white hair wild around his face. 68 years old and tough as leather, the kind of priest who'd buried half the territory and baptized the other half. "Inside," he said. "No questions. Quickly now." I carried Clara through the door. The church was small, drafty, but the cross above the altar caught lamplight and held it like a promise. McCready barred the door behind us. "How long till they arrive?" "Minutes, maybe less. And they'll demand you hand her over." "I expect so." McCready looked at Clara, at the blood soaking through her dress, at her face gone gray with pain. Then he looked at me. "You know, church sanctuary hasn't been recognized in American law for decades." "I know." "Pike could break down that door legally, and I couldn't stop him." "I know that too." "So why bring her here?" "Because you're the only man in this territory who still remembers what sanctuary means." McCready's jaw tightened. Then he nodded once, sharp. "I baptized this girl as a babe, married her parents, buried them too. I'm ashamed I didn't see what was happening to her." "No one saw," Clara whispered from where I'd laid her on a pew. "I made sure of it." "Nevertheless," McCready set his lamp down, rolled up his sleeves. "I see it now, and I'll be damned before I let Jeremiah Hutchins drag you back to that hell." Outside, the dogs arrived, barking, snarling, throwing themselves against the church door. Then came the horses, the shouts, the sound of men dismounting in a rush. "McCready!" Jim's voice so drunk he could barely form the words. "I know she's in there. Send her out." McCready walked to the door, didn't open it, just spoke through the wood, voice carrying the weight of 30 years preaching. "Jeremiah Hutchins, this is consecrated ground. You will not desecrate it with violence." "That's my sister. She's sick. She needs me. What she needs is safety from you." "Father, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. I've understood for 3 years while you've been beating her. Yes, Jeremiah, I knew. The whole town knew. We just looked away. But I'm looking now, and I'm telling you, she's under church protection. You want her, you'll have to go through me." Silence. Then Jem's voice, different now, dangerous. "Pike, this is kidnapping. They can't use the church to hide criminals." Marshal Pike's voice came reluctant. "Father, he's technically right. Sanctuary law isn't—" "I don't care what's technical. I care what's right. And what's right is keeping this girl safe until she can be heard by proper authority. Judge Caldwell's due in 2 weeks for spring circuit. Let him decide." 2 weeks? Jem laughed, wild and broken. "You think I'm waiting 2 weeks?" I heard the click of a gun being cocked, heard Pike swear, heard Father McCready's sharp intake of breath, then another voice, calm, measured, with a slight Chinese accent. "Mr. Hutchins, I have something you should see." Elwood had followed them. "What are you doing here, Chinaman?" "Bearing witness, as I should have done long ago." I moved to the window, peered through the gap in the shutters. Elwood stood in the snow, holding his ledger open, pages visible in the torchlight. 3 years of documentation, Elwood said. Dates, times, descriptions. Every injury I saw, every lie Clara told to cover for you, it's all here. And come trial, it'll all be read aloud. That ain't legal evidence. Judge Caldwell will decide what's legal, but I wonder what the town will think when they hear it, when they learn we all knew and said nothing. The dogs had gone quiet. The men shifted, uncertain. In that moment, I saw the thing Jim feared most wasn't losing Clara. It was losing his story, losing the lie that he was the good brother, the dutiful son, the man trying his best. Pike's voice cut through the tension. Garrett, if she's in there, bring her to the door. Let me see she's safe. I looked at McCready. He nodded. I helped Clara to her feet. She swayed but stayed upright. Together we walked to the door. McCready opened it just enough for Pike to see. She comes willingly, I said. She's hurt, but she's here by choice. Pike saw the blood, saw the bruises old and new, saw Clara standing on her own feet despite the pain. Something shifted in his face. 2 weeks, he said finally, till Judge Caldwell arrives. Then we do this legal. No, Jem lunged forward. 2 of his men grabbed him, held him back. She's mine. She's a human being, Pike said, and for the first time, I heard steel in his voice. And she'll be heard. 2 weeks, Jeremiah. Go home. Sober up. Pray Judge Caldwell sees it your way. They dragged Jem away, still screaming, but he went. When they'd gone, McCready closed the door, leaned against it. 2 weeks, he said. That's all we bought, and Jem won't wait quiet. Clara collapsed then, and I caught her. Her dress was soaked red now. Whatever had torn inside was getting worse. We need a doctor, I said. Can't. Town doctor's Jem's cousin. He comes here. He'll testify Clara's too injured to think straight. Well, then what do we do? McCready looked at us both, at this girl bleeding on his church floor and the man who'd risked everything to save her. We pray, he said, and we hope Judge Caldwell's the man I think he is. Outside, I heard one last sound. Jem's voice, distant but clear. 2 weeks. You hear me, Clara? I'm coming back in 2 weeks, and nobody's going to stop me. Clara's hand found mine in the darkness. He's right, she whispered. He always wins. I squeezed her hand back. Not this time. But I wasn't sure I believed it. The church became our world. Father McCready gave us the back room where he kept vestments and candles. Not much. A cot, a small stove, one window that looked out on nothing but snow and pine. But it was warm, and Jem couldn't reach us there. Clara's bleeding stopped after 2 days. Whatever had torn inside hadn't killed her, though it came close. McCready brought medicine, food, clean bandages. Never asked questions, just did what needed doing. On the 4th night, I found Clara sitting by the window, writing in the condensation on the glass. Letters at first, then words. She wrote them backwards so they'd read right from outside. Help, scared, free. I watched her trace each one, then wipe them away before starting over. You learning to write? I asked. Ma tried to teach me, never stuck. Jem said it was a waste. What's a woman need reading for? She drew another word. Strong, stared at it. You really think that's my name? Strong? I know it is. She wiped the glass clean, turned to face me. The lamplight caught her different now, less haunted, more present, like she was learning to be a person again instead of a thing that flinched. Silas, why'd you do it? Really, you didn't know me. You had no reason to risk. She gestured at everything. All this. I sat down on the floor, back against the wall. Didn't want to tower over her. I ever tell you about Abigail? Your wife. She was quiet, real quiet. Well, I thought that meant she was content. Turns out quiet can mean a lot of things. I pulled off my glove, showed her the scar across my palm. Cut myself on a trap one winter, got infected. She nursed me through fever, changed my bandages every day, never complained, never said she was struggling. Then one spring morning, I came back from the trap line and found her hanging from the barn beam. Clara's hand went to her mouth. Note said the pain was too much. Didn't say what pain. I'd lived with that woman for 20 years and never saw it. Never asked, just assumed quiet meant fine. I looked at Clara straight. I won't make that mistake twice. I see suffering now, and when I see it, I act. That's all. That's not all. You gave up everything. I gave up nothing I couldn't afford to lose. You gave up everything just to survive. She cried then, not quiet tears, big, gulping sobs that shook her whole body. I let her. Sometimes crying's the only honest thing left. When she could breathe again, she said, after the trial, if we win, what happens to me? What do you want to happen? I don't know. I've never been allowed to want anything before. That's when McCready came in, holding a leather-bound book. Territorial law, stamped with the official seal. Found something, he said. Old provision from Spanish mission days, still on the books. If a person claims sanctuary and can prove imminent harm, temporary wardship can be established by any landowner of good standing. What's that mean in plain words? It means, if Silas agrees to take legal responsibility for Clara's welfare, like an apprentice or voluntary ward, Jem's claim can be contested. Not permanently, but long enough for a proper hearing with the judge. Clara looked at me. You'd do that? Make me your ward. If you want it, it's your choice. I'd have to obey you. That's what wardship means. No, it means I'm responsible for your safety. What you do with that safety is your business. McCready set the papers on the small table. I can draw up the documents. Both of you sign. I witness. It won't hold forever, but it's a legal shield till the trial. Clara's hand shook as she reached for the pen. She looked at her name spelled out in McCready's careful script, Clara May Hutchins. Can I use a different name? After? After what? After we win. If we win, can I be someone new? I thought about that. About how sometimes you have to shed your skin to survive. What name would you want? She looked at me, then at the paper. Garrett, Clara May Garrett, if that's all right with you. Something in my chest cracked open. Not pain, the opposite of pain. I'd be honored. We signed the papers there, in that little room, ink still wet, while outside, the snow kept falling. McCready witnessed, pressed his seal, made it official. There, he said. Clara May Garrett, ward of Silas Garrett, legal as Sunday. Clara looked at her new name, traced it with her finger. For the first time since I'd found her, she smiled, small, fragile, but real. Clara Garrett, she whispered. I like how that sounds. So do I. That night, I slept easy for the first time in days. We had legal standing, we had documentation, we had a chance. Then just before dawn, I smelled smoke. I bolted upright, looked out the window. The horizon glowed orange, not sunrise, fire, my cabin, 8 miles away, but visible from the church hill. Clara woke, saw it too. Her face went white. That's your home, was my home. We watched it burn together, flames reaching toward the sky like prayers no one would answer. Everything I owned, 3 years of pelts, tools, the bed where Abigail died, the chair I'd sat in every night, talking to ghosts, all of it. Ash. I'm sorry, Clara whispered. This is my fault. If I hadn't... Stop. I put my hand on her shoulder, gentle. Jem did this, not you. Don't carry his sins. McCready appeared in the doorway, face grim. Pike's on his way. Someone reported the fire. Let him come. Silas, Jem just committed arson. That's a hanging offense. But he'll claim you did it, burned your own place to frame him. Who'd believe that? A marshal who's been taking Jem's money for 2 years. My blood went cold. Pike's on Jem's payroll? I can't prove it, but I've seen them together, seen money change hands. Pike calls it consultation fees for family disputes. Clara stood up, ribs be damned. Then we're not safe here. If Pike's bought, he'll find a way to drag me out. She was right. Sanctuary only worked if the law respected it, and bought law respected nothing but coin. How long till the judge arrives? I asked. 10 days, maybe less if the weather holds. 10 days, might as well be 10 years. Outside, I heard horses. Pike's voice calling out, Fire's been reported. Need to ask some questions. We looked at each other, me, Clara, McCready. 3 people against a town that had looked away for 3 years, against a marshal who'd sold his badge, against a man who'd rather burn the world than admit he was wrong. We hold it, I said. 10 days. We just have to hold 10 days. But I knew what Jem knew. A lot can happen in 10 days. A lot can burn. They came for me at noon, not Pike alone this time. 6 men, all deputized, all carrying the weight of false law. I watched them through the church window, saw the way they moved, purposeful, certain. This wasn't a visit. This was an arrest. McCready tried to stop them at the door. "This is consecrated ground. Step aside, Father." Pike's voice was flat, empty of anything resembling justice. "I got a warrant." "For what crime?" "Arson, destruction of property. Witness places Silas Garrett at his own cabin last night, right before the fire started." "What witness?" "Jeremiah Hutchins." Of course. Jem had burned my cabin, then claimed I'd done it, and Pike, pockets heavy with Jem's money, would swear to it. "That's a lie," Clara said, stepping forward. "Silas was here all night. I can testify. You're an unreliable witness, Miss Hutchins. Confused, possibly coerced." Pike wouldn't look at her. Cowards tell. "Garrett, you're coming with me." I could have fought. Part of me wanted to, but fighting meant they'd charge me with resisting arrest on top of arson. Meant they'd have excuse to shoot. "I'll come peaceful," I said. "But Clara stays here under Father McCready's protection. That's not for you to decide anymore." They shackled me. Iron cuffs, rusty and sharp, cutting into my wrists. Humiliation tactic. Make a man less than human so folks forget to defend him. I'd seen it before. Clara grabbed my arm as they led me past. "Silas, keep your dignity," I said, looking straight at her. "Don't beg these men for anything. Stand tall. You're a Garrett now. Act like it." She straightened, wiped her tears, nodded. "That's my girl," I said. They marched me through town, in those shackles. Middle of the day when everyone could see. Main Street to the jail, past Chin's store, past the saloon, past faces I'd known for years. Some looked away, some whispered. One woman spat in the dirt as I passed. Didn't hit me, but the message was clear. Trash, criminal, man who'd burn his own home for attention. Only Elwood met my eyes. Standing in his store window, he pressed his hand to the glass. Couldn't help me, but wouldn't look away. That was something. The jail cell was small, cold, built to break a man's spirit before trial ever came. One window with bars, bucket in the corner, thin blanket that smelled of mildew and defeat. They threw me in, locked the door, left me in darkness. "Trial's set for when Judge Caldwell arrives," Pike said. 9 days, maybe 10 if the snow comes back. "You know this is wrong." Pike paused at the door, back to me. For a moment I thought he might show a spine. Then, "I know the law. And the law says a man's sister belongs under his care unless she's married or he's proven unfit. She ain't married, and all we got is her word against his. You saw her face, the bruises. Could have got those running through the woods. Could have got them falling." He turned then, looked at me. "Could have got them from you, far as anyone knows." The door closed. Lock clicked. I was alone. Time moved strange in that cell. No clock, no way to mark hours except by the light shifting through the barred window. I counted my breaths, counted the rats that came and went, counted the ways this could end, and none of them were good. Night came. Temperature dropped. My breath fogged in the darkness. The thin blanket was useless against cold that seeped through stone walls. Then, footsteps, key and lock. Elwood stepped through carrying a basket. Real food, soup, bread, something that smelled like hope. "Pike owes me money," Elwood said quietly. "Called in the favor." And he set the basket down, sat on the floor outside my cell. We didn't speak for a while, just sat there in the dim lamplight while I ate the first decent meal I'd had in days. "Town's talking," Elwood said finally. "Half think you're a hero, other half think you're a fool. Nobody's sure what to believe." "What do you believe?" "I believe I should have done what you did 3 years ago, but I was scared of losing my store, my place here, so I watched, documented, did nothing. You're doing something now. Too little, too late. It's never too late to stand up." Elwood looked at me through the bars. "My grandfather came here with nothing, railroad worker. White men beat him, stole his wages, called him things I won't repeat, but he told me something before he died." He paused. He said, "Honor ain't land, ain't gold, ain't even blood. Honor's how you stand after you fall." I'm sitting in a jail cell, about to be tried for saving a woman's life. And you're sitting there with your back straight. Elwood stood, brushed off his pants. "That's standing, Mr. Garrett. That's standing." He left before Pike could catch him. I finished the soup, set the bowl aside, stared at the wall where someone had scratched marks. Days counted, time served, hope measured in scratches. I didn't scratch my own mark. Wasn't planning on being here long enough to need it. Either Judge Caldwell would free me or Jim would find a way to finish this before trial. Either way, this cell was temporary. But lying there in the dark, listening to rats and wind, I thought about Clara, about her standing tall when they took me, about how she'd signed those papers with her hand shaking, Clara May Garrett, choosing a new name, a new life. I'd lost my cabin, lost my freedom, lost 3 years of work. But Clara was alive and fighting. That had to be enough. Just before dawn, paper slid under the door. I picked it up, read by dying candlelight, trial posted. Trial. 9 days, town hall at sunrise. E. Below that, in different handwriting, P.S. You're not alone. Some of us remember how to be brave. I folded the paper, tucked it in my shirt pocket. 9 days. 9 days to survive. 9 days till Judge Caldwell arrived. 9 days till truth got its chance to speak. 9 days till Jim made his move. Because men like Jeremiah Hutchins don't wait for justice. They make their own. And somewhere in this town, he was planning exactly that. 9 days became 8, then 7. Then dawn broke on the trial, and I still didn't know if I'd walk out free or hang by sunset. They brought me to the town hall in shackles. Same humiliation march, different destination. The hall was packed. Seemed like every soul in Settlers Creek had come to watch. Some for justice, most for spectacle. Judge Horace Caldwell sat at the front, territorial law book open before him. 62 years old, white beard, eyes that had seen everything. They called him a hanging judge in some territories, a mercy judge in others. Depended on the evidence. Problem was, evidence could be twisted. This court is now in session, Caldwell said, voice carrying like thunder. Territory versus Silas Garrett. Charges, kidnapping, interference with family custody, destruction of property. How do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor. We'll see about that. Prosecution may begin. The prosecuting attorney stood, local man named Webster, nervous type who'd rather be anywhere else. But he had a job to do, and he did it. Your Honor, the facts are simple. Jeremiah Hutchins is the legal guardian of his sister, Clara May Hutchins, age 23. She ran from his care during a period of mental confusion. Mr. Garrett harbored her against her guardian's wishes, refused to return her, and when confronted, burned his own property to frame Mr. Hutchins for arson. That's a lie, I said. You'll have your turn, Caldwell said. Continue. Webster called Jem to the stand first. My stomach turned watching him walk up there, hand on Bible, swearing to tell truth he'd never known. He'd cleaned up, shaved, sober, wearing his Sunday clothes, looked like a concerned brother instead of the drunk who'd burned my cabin. Mr. Hutchins, Webster said, describe your relationship with your sister. Jem's voice shook, practiced emotion, calculated tears. Clara's all I got left in this world. After Ma and Pa died, I promised I'd look after her, and I have. Fed her, kept a roof over her head, made sure she had everything she needed. And when she disappeared, I was terrified. He wiped his eyes. Good performance. Almost believed it myself. Clara's fragile, has spells. Last winter I found her in the creek, half froze. She said she was washing clothes, but I think she was trying to hurt herself. Murmurs from the crowd, sympathy shifting toward Jem like water finding low ground. And when you found her with Mr. Garrett? I just wanted her home. Safe, but he refused, said terrible things about me, about our family. What about the fire at his cabin? Jem's face went hard. I was at the saloon that night. 20 witnesses can place me there. But I saw him riding toward his place around midnight, real agitated like. Next morning, whole thing's burned to the ground. Then he claims I did it. He looked at me, eyes cold despite the tears. Man burns his own home to make himself look like a victim. That's evil, Your Honor. They let him down. I wanted to lunge at him, wanted to tear that lying tongue right out of his mouth. But that's what he wanted, for me to lose control, prove I was the violent one. Defense may cross-examine, Caldwell said. Father McCready stood. He'd agreed to speak for me, being I couldn't afford a real lawyer. Mr. Hutchins, McCready said, voice gentle as Sunday sermon, you say you cared for your sister, loved her, protected her. Yes, sir. Then explain these. Elwood stepped forward, opened his ledger, page after page of documentation, dates, descriptions, sketches of injuries, 3 years of evidence, carefully recorded, witnessed, dated. January 12th, 1887, Clara Hutchins purchased flour with a black eye and split lip. February 3rd, 1887, Arm in sling, claimed she fell. March 19th. Rope burns on both wrists. What? Objection, Webster said. This is hearsay. The shopkeeper's observations aren't. I documented what I saw, Elwood said, voice steady. Every injury, every lie she told to cover for him, it's all here, dated and witnessed. Why didn't you report it? Caldwell asked. Elwood's face went tight with shame. Because I was a coward, Your Honor. I documented, but I said nothing. I'm saying something now. The crowd stirred. Jem's face had gone from sympathetic to pale. That ledger proves nothing, Webster said. Clara's clumsy. She could have gotten those injuries from Your Honor. A new voice. Deputy Warren stood up from the back of the room. Deputy Warren? Pike's voice carried warning. Sit down. No, sir. Warren walked to the front, shaking but determined. Your Honor, I need to confess something. Warren. Pike was standing now, face red. Marshal Pike took money from Jeremiah Hutchins, $300 over 2 years, payments to look the other way when Clara showed up hurt. I knew about it. I said nothing. But I can't watch an innocent man hang for doing what we should have done. He pulled papers from his coat, Pike's handwriting, payment records, dates matching Elwood's ledger. The room exploded. That's a damn lie, Pike shouted. It's all here, Your Honor. Warren's hands shook as he handed over the evidence. Marked as family consultation fees. It's bribery, and I helped cover it up. Caldwell's face went dark as a thunderhead. Marshal Pike, you're under arrest. Deputy, take his badge. Pike lunged for the door, but 3 men grabbed him. The badge hit the floor with a dull clang, worthless metal without honor behind it. For one moment, I thought we'd won, thought truth would be enough. Then Jem stood up, face twisted with rage and something worse. Desperation. No, his voice cracked. You don't understand. She's mine. My responsibility. PA said, Your father's dead, Caldwell said, and his wishes don't supersede the law or basic human decency. She's my blood. Mr. Hutchins, sit down or I'll hold you in contempt. Jem didn't sit. His hand went to his belt, pulled a gun, old revolver, probably Pa's, aimed it straight at me. You took everything from me. Spit flew from his mouth. My sister, my reputation, now they want my freedom. Put the gun down, Caldwell ordered. She was all I had left. Jem's gun hand shook. And you? He swung toward Clara, who sat in the front row. You chose him over your own blood. Clara stood, slow and steady despite the gun pointed at her heart. You broke my ribs, Jem. You broke them, and when I screamed, you broke them again. You're not my family, you're my jailer, and I'm free now. Then nobody gets you. The gun shifted back to me. I saw his finger tighten on the trigger, saw the moment he decided murder was better than losing. I lunged sideways, shackles rattling, the gun fired, deafening in the enclosed space. Pain exploded in my shoulder, spinning me around. I hit the floor hard, shackles biting into my wrists. Through the ringing in my ears, I heard Clara scream. Heard men shouting, boots pounding, heard Jem's voice broken and sobbing. I didn't mean. I wasn't gonna. Clara, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Hands grabbed him. Warren and 2 others wrestled the gun away. Jem collapsed like a puppet with cut strings, crying into the floor. I loved her, he sobbed. I loved her. Why would she leave me? Clara knelt beside where I'd fallen. Her hands pressed against my shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. Tears streamed down her face. You stupid, stupid man, she whispered. Why would you? Because I promised, I gasped. Never again. Father McCready was there, pressing cloth to the wound. The bullet had gone clean through, missed the bone, but I was losing blood fast. Get a doctor, Caldwell ordered. Then, to the men holding Jem, lock him up. Attempted murder in front of 20 witnesses. He'll hang for this. Jem just kept crying, face pressed to the floor. Not the cry of a monster, the cry of a broken boy who'd turned his grief into violence and couldn't find his way back. Your Honor. Clara stood, blood on her hands, my blood, but voice steady. I want to speak before you pass sentence. Miss Hutchins, you should tend to... Please. Caldwell studied her, then nodded. Clara looked at her brother, at this man who'd hurt her for 3 years, who'd just tried to kill the one person who'd saved her. She looked at him for a long time. Then she said the bravest thing I ever heard. Don't hang him. The room went silent. Miss Hutchins, I want him in prison. I want him away from me. I want a legal order that says he can never contact me again. Her voice didn't shake. But I don't want him dead, because if I ask for his death, I'm no better than he is. I'm just trading one violence for another. Jem looked up at her, disbelief and hope warring on his face. Clara? She didn't look at him, kept her eyes on the judge. Hanging him won't heal what's broken. It'll just add more death to a family that's already lost too much. So I'm asking for mercy, not for him, for me, so I can finally be free of him. Caldwell's expression softened. That's rare wisdom, young lady. That's survival, Your Honor. The pain in my shoulder was fading to numbness, not good, meant I was going into shock. But I heard Clara's words, and even through the fog, I understood what she'd done. She'd chosen herself over revenge, chosen freedom over violence, chosen life. Order. Caldwell's gavel came down. Jeremiah Hutchins, you are guilty of assault, attempted murder, and bribery of a law officer. I sentence you to 15 years territorial prison with no possibility of parole. You are hereby stripped of all guardianship rights. Furthermore, he shuffled papers, found what he was looking for. Upon review of the Hutchins family estate, I find that Clara May Hutchins is entitled to full half of the parental inheritance per territorial law. Properties currently held solely by you must be divided immediately. Jem's face went from broken to shocked. The land is mine. Pa said, your father had no will. Default inheritance law applies. Surviving children split equally. You've been illegally occupying property that half belongs to your sister. Clara's hand tightened on my good shoulder. I own land? Half the homestead, Miss Garrett. Caldwell used her new name deliberately. Your brother owes you 3 years of back rent. The world was spinning now. Too much blood loss. But I saw Clara's face. Shock, disbelief, hope, all mixed together. Silas? Her voice was distant. Stay with me, please. We won. We won. I know, I whispered. Then the darkness took me. I woke up 3 days later in Father McCready's back room. Shoulder bandaged, arm in a sling, but alive. Clara sat beside my cot, head down, asleep sitting up. She'd been there the whole time, McCready told me later. Wouldn't leave, barely ate. Just sat there waiting for me to wake. Clara, I said, voice rough as gravel. Her eyes snapped open. Silas, she grabbed my good hand. The doctor said you might not. He said if infection set in. I'm tougher than I look. She laughed and cried at the same time. You got shot for me. You stupid, stubborn man, you got shot. Worth it. It's not. It is. I squeezed her hand. You're free now. Really free. That's worth a bullet. She wiped her eyes, trying to compose herself. Failed. Just kept crying and holding my hand like I might disappear if she let go. Jem's in prison, she said finally. They took him away that same day. 15 years. And the judge, Silas, the judge, gave me half the land. I own property. Me. I never thought. It's yours. Always was. Just took the law a while to catch up. And Marshall Pike? Stripped of his badge. Fined $500. Warren's the new marshal now. First thing he did was formally recognize your guardianship papers. Clara looked at me, something shifting in her expression. About that, the guardianship, I know you signed those papers to protect me, and now that the trial's over, if you don't want to be responsible for, stop. She stopped. Clara May Garrett, that's your name now. Not because some paper says so, because you chose it, and I choose to keep my word. You're my daughter now, in every way that matters. Her face crumpled. I don't deserve. You survived 3 years of hell. You walked barefoot through a blizzard. You stood up in that courtroom and chose mercy when you had every right to demand blood. You deserve everything good this world has to offer. She cried into my good shoulder while I held her as best I could with one working arm. Sometimes there's nothing to say. Sometimes you just hold on and let the tears do their work. Later, Elwood visited. Brought real food, newspapers, news from town. People are talking, he said, about how they looked away, how they let it happen. Some are ashamed, others are making excuses, but the truth's out now. Can't put it back. Good, I said. Truth needs sunlight. I'm leaving, Elwood said. Sold the store. Moving to San Francisco to be with my daughters. But before I go, he pulled out his ledger, handed it to Clara. This is yours. Evidence that you survived, that you mattered. Even when we failed to help, you mattered. Clara took the ledger, held it like the precious thing it was. Thank you for finally speaking up. Should have done it sooner. You did it when it counted. That's what matters. Father McCready came in after Elwood left, carrying official papers from Judge Caldwell's office. Final ruling, he said. Clara, you're legally emancipated from any family custody. The guardianship with Silas is recognized, and the property division is finalized. Half the Hutchins homestead is yours, free and clear. What about Jem's half? Being sold to pay his legal fees and the fine for Pike's bribery. Whatever's left goes to you as back rent owed. Clara stared at the papers. So I'm free. Really free. Really free, McCready confirmed. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry. Sorry I didn't see. Sorry I didn't act. I failed you. You gave us sanctuary when no one else would. You spoke for us in court. That's not failure, Father. That's redemption. McCready's eyes got wet. He blessed us both, then left us alone. That night, Clara sat by the window, looking out at the snow that was finally starting to melt. Spring thaw was coming, late March sun strong enough to turn winter to water. What happens now? She asked. You lost your cabin, your trap lines, everything. I've got you. That's everything. I'm serious. Where will you live? What will you do? I thought about that. About the life I'd had before. Lonely, quiet, haunted by ghosts. About the life I might have now. Daughter who'd chosen me. Land to rebuild on. Purpose beyond just surviving. I reckon we rebuild, I said. Your land's got good timber, good water. We could put up a cabin, run a small ranch, maybe some crops. We? If you want. It's your land, your choice. Clara was quiet for a long time. Then, I want to tear down the old cabin, the one where it happened, build something new, something that's ours. Then that's what we'll do. And I want to learn things. Reading, writing, arithmetic, all the things Jem said were wastes. I'll teach you everything I know, and what I don't know, we'll figure out together. She smiled, full, real smile, the kind that reached her eyes. Clara May Garrett, landowner, student, free woman. Sounds about right. Through the window, I saw the first robin of spring, red breast bright against melting snow, singing like the world was new. Maybe it was. For us, anyway. Silas? Yeah? Thank you for seeing me, for not looking away. Thank you for being brave enough to run. We sat together in comfortable silence, watching spring arrive and winter finally let go. Outside, Judge Caldwell rode past on his way to the next town, justice delivered, balance restored. Inside, two people who'd survived the worst learned how to live with the best. And somewhere, in a territorial prison, Jeremiah Hutchins sat in a cell and thought about all the choices that had led him there. The difference between us and him, we chose mercy, we chose life, we chose each other, and that made all the difference. 1 year later, March 1890. Spring came early that year, snow melting fast, turning the trails to mud and the creeks to rivers. I stood on the porch of our new cabin, not mine, ours, watching Clara work the garden plot we'd cleared last summer. She moved different now, confident, strong, no more flinching at sudden sounds, no more checking over her shoulder every few steps, just a woman working her own land, building her own life. The cabin we'd built sat where the old Hutchins place used to stand. We'd torn that one down board by board, burned the pieces in a cleansing fire, kept nothing but the good nails. Everything else, every wall that had witnessed violence, every floorboard stained with her blood, we turned to ash. This new place was clean, simple. 2 rooms, a good wood stove, windows with real glass that Clara had insisted on. I want to see out, she'd said, want to see what's coming. She'd learned to read over the winter, took to it like a natural. Once she got past the shame Jim had beaten into her about being stupid. Wasn't stupid at all, just never been given the chance. Now she kept books on the shelf, Bible, almanac, a worn copy of Jane Eyre that Father McCready had given her. About a woman who survives, he'd said. She'd read it 3 times already. Silas, Clara waved from the garden. Coffee's getting cold? I poured 2 cups, hers with honey the way she liked it, mine black as always, and brought them out. We sat on the porch rail, looking at the land that was half hers by law and all hers by right. Got a letter yesterday, she said. From the prison. My hand tightened on the cup. We didn't talk about Jem much. Easier not to. And? He's been sober a year, learning carpentry, says he's proud of me. She stared into her coffee. Don't know how to feel about that. You don't have to feel anything. His feelings are his problem now. I know. But part of me wonders if I should write back. Not to forgive, just to, I don't know, close the circle. That's your choice. No right or wrong answer. She nodded, sipped her coffee. We sat in comfortable silence, the kind of silence that doesn't need filling. A horse appeared on the trail, Elwood Chen, riding up from town. He visited once a month when his business brought him through from San Francisco, always brought news, supplies, and stories about his daughters. Silas, Clara. He dismounted, smiling. Good to see you both looking so well. Elwood, I shook his hand. What brings you out? Business and friendship. He pulled an envelope from his coat. Letter came to my old store. They forwarded it to San Francisco. I brought it here. From Judge Caldwell. Clara took it, hands steady now, opened it carefully, read aloud. Miss Garrett, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing to inform you that Jeremiah Hutchins has served 1 year of his sentence with good behavior. He has petitioned for the right to send you correspondence, supervised and approved by the prison chaplain. As the victim in his case, you have the right to approve or deny this request. Please respond at your earliest convenience. Respectfully, Judge H. Caldwell. Clara set the letter down, looked at me. What do you think? I think it doesn't matter what I think. What do you want? She was quiet for a long time. Elwood waited, patient. I waited, knowing this moment was hers alone. She paused. I want to visit him. Once, face to face. Not to forgive, not to reconcile, but to show him what I became. Show him he didn't break me. You sure about that? No, but I need to do it anyway. 3 weeks later, we made the journey. 2 days' ride to the territorial prison, Clara and me and Father Macready for moral support. The prison sat squat and gray against brown hills, surrounded by walls that promised no escape. They brought Jim to the visitation room in shackles. He looked smaller than I remembered, thinner, sober, actually sober, maybe for the first time since his parents died. When he saw Clara, his eyes filled with tears. Clara. She didn't move from her chair, just looked at him across that scarred wooden table. Jim. Long silence. So much unsaid hanging between them like smoke. I'm sorry, Jim said finally. I know that don't mean nothing. I know words can't fix what I did, but I'm sorry. Every day I'm sorry. I know. Do you? Do you really? His voice cracked. Because I didn't know how to stop. After Ma died, after Pa, I was so angry. And you were there. And I took it out on you. And once I started, I couldn't figure out how to stop being that person. You could have chosen different. Every single time you could have chosen different. I know. You cost me 3 years of my life, Jim. 3 years of fear, of pain, of thinking I deserved it. You didn't. You never did. I know that now, too. She stood, and for a moment I thought she might leave. Instead, she looked at him straight. No fear, no anger, just clear-eyed truth. I forgive the brother you were before Pa died. The boy who protected me from bullies, who taught me to fish, who made me laugh. That Jeremiah, I forgive. She paused. The man you became? I'm still working on that, but I hope someday, maybe, because holding on to hate hurts me more than you. I don't deserve your mercy. No, you don't, but I'm not giving it for you. I'm giving it for me, so I can be free. Jim's face crumpled. Clara, Goodbye, Jim. I hope you find peace. I hope you become better, but I won't be there to see it. This is the last time we'll speak. Clara, please. She turned and walked out. Didn't look back. I followed, Macready behind us. In the wagon on the way home, Clara cried, not sad tears, release tears, like she'd been carrying a weight so long she forgot it was there, and now it was finally gone. You all right? I asked. I'm free, she whispered. Really, truly free. He has no power over me anymore, not even in my head. Proud of you. Proud of me, too. We rode home through spring countryside, everything green and new. Clara sang. First time I'd ever heard her sing. Off-key, didn't know all the words, but joyful. Pure joy. When we got back to the cabin, there was a package waiting, from Elwood. Inside, fabric for new curtains and a note, for your home, for your new life, for the courage you showed us all. E. Clara hung those curtains that evening, standing on a chair in the fading light. I held the ladder steady, watching her transform our space into something beautiful. Silas? Yeah? Do you ever regret it? Everything you gave up to help me? I thought about my old cabin, my solitary life, the ghosts I'd lived with for 3 years. Not for a second, even when you got shot? Especially then, that bullet proved something. What? That some things are worth bleeding for. You were. You are. She climbed down from the chair, stood in front of me, looked me straight in the eye. You saved my life, but more than that, you taught me my life was worth saving. That's the real gift. You did the hard part. All I did was give you a chance. You gave me everything. She hugged me then, careful of my shoulder that still ached in cold weather, and I hugged her back. My daughter. Not by blood, but by choice, by mercy, by love. That night, we sat on the porch watching stars come out, the same stars that had watched us that first terrible night when I found her in the snow, but everything else had changed. My ribs healed clean, Clara said suddenly. The doctor said they might give me trouble when I'm old, but for now, they're strong. Stronger than before, maybe. Things that break and heal right often are. Think that's true for people too? I know it is. She smiled, sipped her coffee, watched the darkness fill with light. Clara May Garrett, she said softly. Free woman, landowner, survivor. Don't forget daughter. And daughter. She looked at me. Best thing I ever became. We sat there until the coffee went cold, and the stars wheeled overhead, and spring whispered promises of summer to come. Inside, the cabin was warm. The curtains were new, the books were waiting, the garden was planted. The future was open, and for the first time in both our lives, we weren't running from anything. We were running towards something, together. That was 67 years ago. I'm an old man now. Clara lived a good long life, raised 3 sons, all good men, taught them what I taught her. Dignity's earned by how you treat others when nobody's watching. She died last winter, peaceful, in her sleep, not a mark on her. That's how it should be. Folks ask me sometimes, Silas, you risked everything for a girl you didn't know. Was it worth it? And I tell them, every damn time. See, there's 2 kinds of men in this world. Men who use their strength to hurt, and men who use their strength to protect. Difference ain't muscle, ain't size, it's choice. My ribs never broke, hers did, and she survived it. That's courage. What I did, that was just being human. Being what we're supposed to be when someone's suffering. You don't need a badge to stand up, don't need money, don't need permission, just need eyes to see and a heart that won't let you look away. Claire used to say her ribs broke so her spirit could break free. Maybe that's true. Maybe sometimes we gotta break before we can heal, right? She gave this back to me on her 50th birthday. Said it was the first thing that ever held kindness for her. Keep it on my porch now. Reminder that small mercies matter. Broken ribs, broken trust, broken laws, but not broken spirits, never that. If this story touched you, if you're sitting somewhere right now with your own broken ribs, visible or not, know this. You're worth saving. You're worth protecting. And somewhere out there, there's a Silas or a Father McCready or an Elwood who's just waiting to be brave enough to help. Maybe that Silas is you. Maybe today's the day you stop looking away. Till next time, friends, may your dignity carry you through the cold, and may you never be too proud to accept a warm blanket when it's offered.